Hey everybody, it's your host of the Sith Timeline, Dr. Dana Martin, and welcome. It is Tuesday. It is a little after 8 because we had some technical difficulties, as we always do. Welcome, and on this show, we have a very special guest. I mean, Zane, you're very special as a common co-host, but our real special guest is DJ Elliot. DJ Elliot, thank you. Welcome to the show, my friend.
What's happening, sir?
Doing good. Hey, what a week that you've had, and what a weekend for Star Wars fans, for sure. So we're going to have all kinds of fun stuff to talk about, but I need to touch real quick on our other two people who are normally here. Cameron, I had to look. Who else is in the show? Cameron is out tonight, and so is Debbie, but it has nothing to do with you, Zane. I think you're still frozen. What's up, David? Hey, if you want to join, I just popped that into the AV chat. Darth Zane. All right. So yeah, let's just start with who you are. So you are a jack of all right now, doing all kinds of things with your business. But here at the Sith Timeline, we talk about stuff like, oh, hold on, Darth. We got someone that just Garrett. Hello, Garrett. How are you doing?
I'm good.
And now I've got to click this.
I'm wearing my Georgia Aquarium Luke, I Am Your Otter shirt.
Nice. So yeah, DJ Elliot, we're going through talking about how what you do. So aside from being a DJ, which as I stated in pre-show, I put you were going to be on the show, and they were like, yeah, we know that guy, DJ Lobot. So tell us what you do, why it's Star Wars, and about that love.
I got started with Star Wars back in 2010. Prior to the Disney acquisition, I was working at Walt Disney World. I've been in the Orlando area since '97, since I left college, which was where I know you from. Shocker. And yeah, got involved through Star Wars Celebration because of Disney, and then have just been involved with Star Wars and Lucasfilm ever since. So.
Yeah. Nice.
The short,
that's super cool. The abridged version, yeah. The joke is like you started out as a trash can, just at Disney, which is awesome. I love that place. I didn't go the first time to Disney World until I was in my 40s, and the very first time I was there, this gentleman really gave us the hookup, and we were kind of celebrating the passing of someone very close to us. And whenever we showed up, he had nothing but cool things to have us do to keep us entertained, keep our minds off of that loss. So thank you for that, my friend.
No problem.
But yeah, so college, we went to college together for a little while. I wanted to, if you don't mind, share just a kind of this is how it used to be thing real quick, maybe. There we go. So we were in choir together, choir tour to set this up, right?
We also did Godspell together, didn't we?
We did. Oh, well, yeah, I played in the band. I think you were in the show.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I did that, son. Sorry, I didn't tell you. So this is Steamboat Springs, Colorado?
Steamboat Springs, Colorado, yeah.
This pretty much sums up the whole relationship.
This is cool. I love this. I don't know what else.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know who those guys are. So essentially, yeah, I was RA, and he gave me tons of trouble, and that's what you do to your RA.
Yeah, that's right. Make it all, if I remember correctly.
Awesome. So, hey, we're going to start out talking about Phantom Menace for a little bit, and kind of break the ice with you and get your thoughts on some of this too. Garrett, welcome to the show. Long-time listener, first time. No, just welcome aboard, my friend. So we're going to start. I started talking about this with you right before the show began. And those of you that do watch our show or listen on Spotify or wherever, know we have some really deep-seated feelings about the Jedi Order and their participation in the conversion and creation of Anakin Skywalker. And I want to get y'all's thoughts on something that I noticed, never noticed before. And it was when he says to No, who is it? Obi-Wan. And he says, "Our own council, we will keep." The Jedi's. The council has agreed. You can train him, but I don't like. F you, you're not going to train him. And I was blown away. I'd never heard where Yoda was like, "I feel this way, but collectively, we're going to let you go ahead and do this." And I think that preemptive yes is a part of all the poor Anakin had to go through, is setting the tone right there. Boom. Hey, I know you look up to me. I don't like this. So I'd love to get y'all's thoughts on that, because I never noticed that until this week. Don't be bashful.
I'll be honest. It's been a couple of years since I last saw Phantom Menace, but it still sticks out very strongly in my mind. I mean, Phantom Menace was the first new movie that I saw in theaters, after the re-release of the original trilogy with all the special editions and all that. It's actually the movie that made me and my best friend best friends to begin with, which is a fun story, and I'm sure I've told it on More of the Stars a couple times. But anyway, the thing I've noticed about that is that there is, Palpatine makes a bold statement in Episode 3 about the Jedi being dogmatic, and he's not wrong.
Mm-mm.
Although, to be fair, the Sith and their rule of two and all the other things that they do to consolidate power, also incredibly dogmatic. Pot calling the kettle black, or in this case, less than black. I don't know how it works with dark side, light side. But the idea that Yoda was against it, he obviously was outvoted. And I want to say that I feel like Mace Windu may have also been one of those dissenting voices on the council, because he was never fond of Anakin to begin with. Like something rankled them, and it especially with when they were doing the testing, and he was obviously missing his mom, and he was really connected. I don't know. It's just, I think the way that they treated him, and the way that he was sidelined a lot of the time, like you see this through the Clone Wars, you see this through especially the 2D miniseries that was put out back in the early to mid 2000s. There is a lot of verbiage that makes that kind of puts Anakin in a derogatory mindset. Like he's already been put down. Like and it's more of do as I say because you have to. And for someone who's coming out of that slave lifestyle on Tatooine, that's just more of the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you traded one slave master for the Jedi in Watto for the Jedi is essentially all you've done. That's a great point.
Like I saw this really funny meme the other day with Qui-Gon looking at Anakin, and he's like, I think we could do something with you. And Watto's in the background going, no, take him.
Oh my goodness. So you started a few years after, right? Your kind of foray really as Lobot and all this was a few years after the Phantom Menace, if I'm not mistaken. So taking what your feelings are of the Phantom Menace and kind of where we're going with it, what are your thoughts on Yoda's part in potentially edging Anakin to the dark side? Inadvertently, of course.
I don't know. It seems like it's something that he really wants, and anytime you work really hard to try to get something that you really want, it just never goes well. He's surrounded by people saying, hey, this isn't your gift, this isn't for you, and he doesn't listen to any of them. He just, it's like, I'm gonna get this, it's gonna happen. And then, but doesn't necessarily want to follow the rules. Like, hey, you can't be with anybody, so I'm going to secretly get married and not tell anybody about it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting how we take for granted the story that's fed us, and as we kind of start to break it down, we start to see more layers of writing. And thank you, Lucas, as always. And I don't think we ever really appreciate, what is it? You don't know what you got till it's gone. I think unfairly people did some really terrible things, said some terrible things about Lucas. We love George Lucas and think that the writing is actually really good. The story that's being told is epic, and to try to write and attain the same level or greatness or greater, he was up against the wall for that, and that was going to be hard. So when I see Zane, when I see Phantom Menace was not your first Star Wars movie to see, even though that was released 4 years before 5 years before you were born. What was the first one you saw? Do you remember?
In theaters?
Yeah.
It'd have to be The Force Awakens.
Oh no. I'm terrible. So you saw The Phantom Menace in theaters. This was the first time you saw it in the theaters, right? So this is the first time you got to, guys, the pod race. I mean, it was seeing it in the theater, it did take me back. That was pretty sick. What were your thoughts on the movie, Zane, in the theater?
It was a whole new experience because I was raised on these movies, so I've seen them a lot, so many times, and a lot of those moments start to lose their magic, but watching it in a theater almost like reignites those fires. It's a whole different experience. It is.
So Charlotte and I got back home and put on Jedi and watched Return of the Jedi. After watching TPM, and Jedi is my favorite for many reasons we've talked about on the show. For hers, it's those what I like to call puntables, the little furry guys, Ewoks. Yeah, Ewoks.
Yeah, teddy bears.
Puntables.
Like Force Unleashed.
Yeah. Maybe. Awesome. So, one of the things about this that was awesome was there was this extended scene and whatnot at the end of the Acolyte. And those of you that play along at home, I've written like 3 articles about the Acolyte, and the stupid thing hasn't even come out yet. I'm excited about it. I've got my fingers crossed. Of course, I have high expectations because I'm a Star Wars fan, but regardless, it's new content, and I will love it. So if you guys would indulge me, we're going to take a peek at it and then talk about it. You good?
Sure.
Let's do this.
All right. And the Acolyte. Oh, I guess it should.
You should probably, share your screen.
Oh, hold on a second. Did everybody see that out there? Because I don't think it's working. Cameron, David, did you see that? Or are you seeing that?
I'm not.
No, you're not? You're seeing us?
Yeah.
Are you for real?
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I've done this before. Everything's different. I just want to point out it's not my fault. Everything.
Oh,
here we go.
There we go.
Everything's different. I'm just work real job all day and I'm tired. Here we go. So no one got to see Elliot tackling Dana in the snow, but you heard about it.
Last night, a Jedi was murdered.
The Jedi justify their galactic dominance in the name of peace. But that peace is a lie.
This is not the one. This is not.
Jedi are being hunted.
This is not what we saw at the end of the movie, is it?
She was my student. I trained her. Let me be the one to bring her in.
consensus is only a small part of a larger plan. Some sort of shift to tip the scales. It's time to face the past. Destiny is not decided for you by an anonymous force. If you want to pull the thread and change everything, then pull it.
What are you?
I had not seen that. Oh my goodness! No.
I already have more theories.
Get to the chopper.
I had not seen that, guys. I thought
What
that
are
was
you?
the same thing we saw in the theater. No.
No.
Oh my gosh, thoughts. Oh, I'm feeling a very Sithy vibe, but man. Hey,
There's-
negative.
I
Hey,
thought they can go with that.
Cameron, are you gonna jump on this or what, dude? Look, I'm putting all your stuff. I am supposed to be better than what. Okay. Yeah. Talk to me about this mask guy. I got to find out who's behind the mask. What are we thinking?
Personally, if we're this far back, it might be how would you say his name? Tenebris? One before Plagueis.
Plagueis' master?
Mm-hmm.
That would put it like that would put it in the right timeline.
Have him. Plagueis is alive doing whatever, right? She's Dark Jedi. All of this is all Dark Jedi stuff. They think whoever that is also a Dark Jedi. And because if I'm not mistaken in the canon, is it explained in the canon how they know there's only two? Because I know it was explained in Legends.
Well, the rule of two has been carried on as canon at this point. So, which was thousands of years by.
But how they would find out? Because if we go by what we know,
Oh yeah, how would they have found out that that was the rule?
that could be possibly who tells them about it. You know, whoever that Dark Jedi could be, the Acolyte.
Well, it also could be something that is alluded to in throwaway dialogue in the show.
Yeah.
Coming from, and that's coming from a writer's perspective,
Sure.
because I mean, like, if what's been kept as canon has stuck through this, and the showrunner is actually pulling from that content, which would be wise for them to do if they claim to be as much of a Star Wars fan as they say they are, then it would be beneficial for them to just kind of hint at it to some degree. But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the canon has established that for at least 1,000 years up to this point, the rule of two has been established. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that was Darth Bane who established that.
Mm-hmm.
And Darth Bane, I'm looking it up right now. Bane lived
It's about a millennia.
about 1,000 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So that's within the timeline.
And this show is supposed to be set about 100 to 150 years, give or
Before
take.
Phantom Menace.
Before
Yeah.
Phantom Menace.
However, Bane isn't entirely canon yet.
Oh, come on.
We've had the deleted scenes from
Yeah.
Clone Wars, and I'm pretty sure I don't even know if he's been name dropped.
But the rule of two's been dropped, and unless they change who the rule of two is. So here's the fun stuff. So tell us, we're gonna segue into some stuff with Elliot here. So the Acolyte's a big deal right now. This new Rey movie's a big deal right now. We love to speculate. We love to talk about this stuff. And you just got back from South Africa, did you not?
correct. Yes.
Tell me about that Comic-Con or celebration. What was that?
Oh, no. So it's Comic-Con Cape Town. They do 2 Comic-Cons in South Africa each year. Comic-Con South Africa, which is in Johannesburg. That's in September. And then Cape Town is in April. So Cape Town's the smaller con. This is its second, going into year 7 of the one in Johannesburg, and my guess in probably 2 or 3 years it'll be one of the largest Comic-Cons in the world.
Wow.
The big fight is everybody talks about, is New York or San Diego the biggest Comic-Con in the world? And the answer is
Wow.
neither. The biggest one is EXP. They do the same numbers as both New York and San Diego in a year. They do in a 4-day weekend in Brazil. So pop culture internationally is much, much bigger. And you're looking at like an entire continent does 1 Comic-Con a year. Here in the United States, we probably have 10 Comic-Cons every weekend somewhere going on. So it's just not,
Right.
It's not even a fair comparison, but we are getting geared up and ready for Star Wars Celebration in Japan next year. So, I mean, we're, tickets just went on sale. I think they're still available. I think only, ironically, get your money figured out right now. It's actually the expensive part of getting Japan is the flight, but once you're there, it's very, very reasonable.
So you're gonna be a part of Tokyo?
It's never a guarantee, and so we sign a contract. We've started some pre-production talks, so
Cool.
we're definitely more involved in Celebration in the last couple years. So hoping to put together some content for the Celebration stage, the Galaxy stage, and any other stage that they might have.
Heck yeah. So
Twin Sun stage, all that stuff.
Absolutely. You're just a little broke up there. Okay, you're back. So wanted to keep this a bit going. You so just got back from there. You're going potentially doing some Tokyo stuff. I had mentioned it all started with a trash can. Do you mind just the quick and dirty on that? How you went from starting to work at Disney, first of all, why after what we were doing, and then kind of where you're at today.
So I don't think we've ever talked about it. I got kicked out of school.
I didn't know.
I don't think we've ever talked about school, and was told not to come back. So I went and did an internship at Walt Disney World in the fall of 1997, and while I was there, I got a letter from the dean that said, "We don't want you to come back." So I stayed in Florida. Kept working at Disney, and eventually through the years, started DJing, I apprenticed with a guy out in Florida and became a DJ at Disney, and then met one of the guys in charge of the robots at Walt Disney World. So he hired me. I was Push the Talking Trash Can, West Palm, Peepa the recycling bin, and R2D2, including the R2D2K, which was the one with the Mickey Mouse ears.
Oh, nice.
So I did all of that. And so while doing Push the Trash Can was when we reconnected.
Mm-hmm.
And the gentleman that trained me at Push is the one that came up with the idea for DJ Lobot. And he introduced me to Mark Renfro, original producer Lucasfilm hired to do Star Wars Celebration.
Nice.
So he brought me in to do Star Wars Celebration 5. And then I did all of the celebrations from 5 up until the most recent. He stepped away after Celebration in Chicago, and then producing the rooms after that. So we did London and Anaheim, or Anaheim, London. So, and now Japan.
That's insane. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah, I didn't know that. I can't wait to talk about that someday. But I do remember it was like, where's Elliot? He's in Florida. Oh, cool. He's in Florida. Like I didn't know why. I just assumed he was joining the circus. And so
I mean, I found my tribe, and then the same sort of thing kind of happened. Star Wars Celebration for me was kind of the birth of DJ Elliot. Like until then, it was just Elliot, the DJ, but I became an actual focused on learning how to DJ, creating my own mixes, really kind of making it become a thing. And I really found I liked fandom because I never really knew who I was. I mean, we all kind of finally find our people. Like clearly you have. That's what I love about Star Wars. Getting to meet George Lucas, hear him explain. Look, I made these movies for kids, and I was like, yeah, well, that's cool. I met my wife because of this movie that you made for kids. So it's really cool. All of my really close friends are people I met through Star Wars. So yeah,
that's cool, man.
And then friends that I had from my past life, now we're friends again because of Star Wars. So it's just so and that's the thing that everybody needs to remember. Like it's fun to watch the group has a Star Wars that's theirs. Ours is 4, 5, and 6. People 10 years younger than us have 1, 2, and 3. People 10 years younger than them have Clone Wars and Rebels. And then 10 years younger than that there's a new generation that has Mandalorian. And it's really cool how they're doing that. They're making it, and that it's also really hard for us that grew up with 4, 5, and 6 sometimes. Look, it's not all made for us. We can't like it all.
Mm-hmm. But we reference Freddie Prinze Jr. now and then too, where he says that, right? He's like, "No, Lucas didn't make it for you forever."
No, and that's the way to keep it alive is to make it exciting. A lot of people complained that Disney chose to go the route it did when building Batuu in the theme parks.
Mm-hmm.
It's not 440 or 50. You see kids dressed as Rey walking around in Batuu. That's who it's made for. So that then they bring their kids. That's the thing. Disney bought Lucasfilm because it was a sound financial investment. And that's what they're doing. They are, of all of that Iger bought in his time as the CEO, it's the one thing that returned the investment. That and Marvel. But Pixar has yet to return the investment, and 20th Century Fox definitely has not returned the investment. But Star Wars and Marvel, these stories that we like, there's cool stuff coming. That's what's always fun about Star Wars Celebration. It's like a commercial about what's to come.
Yes. And sometimes those commercials are fantastic, and sometimes they cause questions, and sometimes they're like, what? Huh? And I'm glad that we have someone that has some experience with some of that on our show. I wanted to, like, you let us see when they were building Galaxy's Edge. We had the opportunity, thanks to you, to watch the panel when they talked about it. We got to see the first pictures of what was on the other side of the fence, right? It was super fun and super exciting. And you've been on or either hosted or DJ'd for how many panels? Can you even count how many panels that concern Star Wars?
No, man. I mean, I've been involved in conventions since 2010, so it's been 14 years. So, and it's an honor to be there in that room. My favorite place is Star Wars Celebration in a room full of people just like me. Just to remind everybody, like, hey, man, like, we're not normal. You can turn. It's one of the few places in the world you can turn to the person next to you and have a conversation that you couldn't have anywhere else in the world.
That is no lie. So I want to ask,
like I said, some of my best friends to this day I met in the room at Star Wars Celebration.
So I wanted to ask you, Garrett. You had mentioned you might need to pop off here in a bit. Did you have any questions for him? I mean, like, he has been all over with all kinds of experiences. But before we do that, I want to make sure to call out War of the Stars. We do pretty much every show. We go through all of our lineups, right? Of all of our different shows. War of the Stars is one you don't want to miss. Do you want to give a quick synopsis real quick about your show to all of our listeners?
Yeah, so War of the Stars, I was kind of brought on about a year and a half ago as the co-host our main guy is John Mark Tolley, and he's a pretty awesome dude. So we just sit there and we geek out talking about Star Wars. We're actually wrapping up our review of Bad Batch final season. We just recorded yesterday, and everything's been given to Geek News now so that they can upload it for tomorrow. But yeah, we're doing that, and then next week our big episode is going to be focusing on the we're going to do actually a review of the entire Tales of the Empire series that came out this last week because I need to get caught up. And we're going to do like what our favorite episode was versus what our least favorite episode was for that whole show. So that's pretty much it. And we actually just celebrated 7 years.
7 years.
7 years.
Yeah, that's right. I saw that. That was freaking fantastic.
Yeah,
That's
it was
awesome.
pretty cool.
Congratulations.
Just in time for May 4th.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So my question for you, Elliot, is obviously you've been to a lot of these celebrations. The only one I've been able to go to was the one in Anaheim in 2015 because that was the first one back here in the States. And what was your favorite memory from that event? I was there for the Saturday session, and it was insane. It was intense. I loved it.
Oh, Anaheim was. Which one was 2015?
That was the one. It was 9 years ago. It was right when they were starting to announce Rebels, and they had like they're showing like exclusive content for Force Awakens because it hadn't come out yet.
So my moment at that convention was the premiere of the Force Awakens trailer. That was the first time we saw that, and they played it twice, but they played it so loud the first time they shook the projector out of focus.
That's awesome.
And it was so cool to look. So because I'm up on stage and behind the screen, I couldn't really see it. Trying to I was kind of looking up like that at the screen, and Philip Kelly, who's one of the stage managers that works with us, tapped me on the shoulder, and I looked back at him, and he pointed. And as I look over, it's JJ and Kathleen watching the trailer. So I'm standing there watching JJ Abrams and Kathleen watch their trailer. We took a little photo of it with our phone, which I ended up years later giving to both Kathleen and JJ.
That's cool.
And then just hearing people scream at the Chewie was the moment that grown men sobbing in the audience. And there's just never going to be another moment like that, because if you think back to that trailer, it had all the things in it we wanted to see. We saw the Millennium Falcon fly around. We saw Han Solo. We saw Chewbacca. We saw what we wanted to see, and it just... Oh, and the joke, we also saw Constable Zuvio, who we only see in the movie for a very, very short time.
Yes.
But he made the trailer.
My good friend Martin Keeler, who I met through Star Wars Celebration, has a Zuvio museum in his bathroom in his home in London. And Pablo Hidalgo has visited the zoo. He calls it the Zuvium. So if you're ever in London and you want to see the largest collection of Constable Zuvio memorabilia, visit Martin Keeler's bathroom.
I'll get right on that.
That was the moment, the Force Awakens trailer, the first time we saw that. Anaheim will always be a special place for me because we went back there. The next time we went back there, up until that celebration, which was they just called it Star Wars Celebration Anaheim, I had always been just the DJ, and Anaheim and on that stage was the first time that I stepped forward into the MC role and not just the DJ role. So it was fun to step forward and talk. Before I didn't really say much. I just kind of played music.
That's cool.
Was that the one where what's his name? Oh gosh, Mark Hamill comes out and you're playing Hero by Skillet, and he's walking out to Hero by Skillet.
That was Star Wars Celebration, and the reason we played that is James Arnold Taylor was the moderator or the host, and he talked about being Christian together, and he challenged me to come up with different music, and we were like, all right, cool, we'll figure that out.
Dude, Christian or no, man, Skillet's something else, man. Those
no, it was really cool.
Yeah, dig it.
Cool. It was not. People wouldn't have known that that's what that was.
No,
only just a real heavy rock song. Yep.
I got it, and it was perfect because, and as Cam, if he's still listening, will attest, Luke is his guy, and Luke was my guy. You know, so when you see Luke for the first time after not seeing him for 20 plus years, like it was an amazing moment. Just you're kind of taken back, right? Regardless of how your thoughts or feelings on the character and what was done. There's a moment in The Force Awakens where you're like, okay, yes, Cam, we get it. Okay. Oh, awesome.
And Mark Hamill's just the greatest guy too. So I've been very fortunate to get to know him. That's kind of the weird thing about doing this as long as we've done it is like, people recognize us and
that's cool.
We're like, oh, hey, good to see you. How's going on? It's just, and then being in the rotation of Comic-Con, bumping into them again, and they're just like, oh, hey, what are you working on now? It's weird. There's lots of some of my favorite moments of my life have happened backstage at Star Wars.
Oh wow!
Celebration. Just some of the stuff I've got. Just it's been really. I've been really, really fortunate. And and people that ask me, hey, have you met George Lucas? Yes, the very first time that I met him, I ran off stage and legitimately ran into him. And I remember my face like getting stuck in his beard.
That's fantastic.
George, I almost knocked him over.
I think I still have a George beard hair somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And then getting to talk to him backstage, he was just like, hey guys, it was a really great job.
He's amazing. Yeah, we talk about his storytelling and his ability to put two and two together in ways that others may not have thought of, or if they did, they just not doing it just the way he does, and it's just amazing. Zane, do you have any questions?
I have
you gotta go ahead.
I have one kind of big question, and it has a follow-up question if it's true. Do you read any of the Star Wars books?
I did, man, because it's all, I'm the same age as, Dana. So, I mean, that's what we had. That was it.
Okay, then the follow-up is, like, what is your favorite, either book or kind of series/era, if that gives you room to work with?
Hold on. Think on that 1 second. Thank you, Garrett, for joining this evening. He just left. But he had to pop off. Thank you, Garrett, for joining. You guys catch War of the Stars. They said they'll be popping off another one here pretty quick. Okay.
I mean, those first Timothy Zahn books. I mean, that was. That was what we had. I remember those because I had really gotten into the first three movies because they were out when I was a kid. I was born in 1977, so my mom said she took me to see Star Wars, but I don't remember it. I don't actually remember watching any of them in the theaters, but I remember watching them on VHS and getting the toys and playing with the toys. But then I remember, getting older and reading the books, and then Marvel did the comics of the books, and I was a big comic guy, so I read those too, so it was good to see, what I thought I saw in my head so that was cool too. And then it was just, also really fun too, to get to know Tim and talk to him about, his stuff. And, he's so excited to see now, Thrawn show up and stuff, it's really cool. I had some opportunity, I got to know pretty well, and to hear him sit around and talk about, him and Filoni, when they talk about like which direction is Star Wars going and do we have to come up with new stories, and both of them are like, do you know how much content we have in Clone Wars to pull from? We have so much stuff to pull from. We have all these books and comics. Like, we don't need to come up with stuff. There's tons of stuff. So it's cool to see some of that happen. That's one of the reasons I like The Mandalorian, is because, John and Dave are such huge Star Wars fans. So to see, like a toy pop up as like other stuff that inside those shows just make it enjoyable to watch. So, it's the nods to keep us old folks, into it. Like nothing's funnier than watching the Mandalorian sit in the cockpit of the, Sandcrawler, and he's, ducking down. Jawas are tiny, so of course it'd be this little tiny. Just, and here he is, chasing the Sandcrawler like, the video game. It's just neat. It was neat to watch all of that and see the nods and stuff. So there's plenty of material, lots of stuff to get pulled from. Clearly, you've read some stuff. Apparently, Cameron's got a question.
Yeah, so Cam just can't help himself. Yeah. Well, first of all, hold on. I got to call out Cam. 1 second. We come back to you, Zane. As soon as he asked this question, just chilling, being a good interviewer. You said Timothy, and you didn't even finish Othi Zahn.
Yeah.
He was just like, all right. Yes, his absolute favorite. Thrawn is Zane's absolute favorite character.
Oh, and what a such a great portrayal. Like, just
yes. And if you watch Tales of the Empire, pretty good. Just very momentarily there, but so good.
That's all I needed.
So it's such a great casting choice too. So, favorite piece of Star Wars media. Okay, I have a really weird love of the original Star Tours. Really, what connected me to Star Wars the most? Because, like, again, I watched the movies growing up, but that's the one I stumbled across when I was on vacation with my parents at the theme park, a like test and adjust of the ride. So I got to go on it before like it was open for park guests, but only like, maybe 100 or 200 people a day. So I got to do it early, and I just remember riding it over and over and over again. Because I was kind of a Disney kid. So, my parents we always came to Disney. So that's probably my favorite Star Wars media. If I had to pick I'm close. I guess Star Wars media. That's really the cool part about Star Wars is, it all sounds the same. They all kind of go after that iconic John Williams score, and, it's great. I liked Andor a lot.
Yes.
I thought that was cool. It didn't necessarily feel like Star Wars. That's why I'm excited about Skeleton Crew, because I didn't like the trailer that we saw makes it look like an old 80s Spielberg movie, and so when it's a really good story set in the Star Wars universe, because you could tell, that was kind of Andor. It was this political kind of whodunit drama set in the Star Wars universe. Like, why not talk about that? That's kind of the cool thing about Acolyte too, is it's in the universe and it's history, but it's so far back that most people haven't really thought about it. So it's going to be cool to see. So yeah, I mean, I find it really hard to get into the animated stuff just because I'm not a huge animation fan, but unfortunately, when Clone Wars came out, it's not in order, and as someone or ADHD, like, it's just really hard to focus on a storyline that's all over the place. And I remember Dave telling the story about why it's that way, and how he'd walk into George's office and be like, "Hey, this is what we just worked on," and he'd be like, "Yeah, but what's going on with Yoda? Bring in some story Yoda." So he'd have to go and make 2 or 3 episodes about Yoda and come in, and be like, here you go. And he'd be like, well, what's going on with so-and-so? And oh, by the way, stop what you're doing. We're going to make a movie about, World War II pilots, So, they talked about, the crazy man behind the steering wheel, but again, an amazing storyteller. And, you're right. There's so much content to pull from. So.
Absolutely. You talked about Mando, and we talked about Community and stuff, and so I have a TikTok that we just went offline just now, but we broadcast during the show, and people can join the show. And one of the friends of the show, her name on here is No One Broken on TikTok. She has a special needs son, and they live in California, and they're able to go to Disneyland quite a bit. So this is a video. I asked her permission to share this. It is her special needs son meeting Mando. So you want to talk about bridging gaps and creating joy in ways you could hardly even imagine for your own self. All right. Super.
Are you sharing?
Hold on. Because I can see it. So hold on. Wow,
Oh.
look. How about that?
There you go.
We're moving on, Grogu.
You say hi? You say hi?
What, young traveler?
Damn.
Yeah. Damn.
Number one, that music was added afterwards because there's no music inside of Galaxy's Edge. There's just sounds, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, for people that complain about Disney buying Lucasfilm, something like that would never have existed without Disney. It's the one thing Disney is interactions with folks of everything. Like that's something that they excel at. And the fact that there's a place that you can go that exists in Star, like it's just that's why I'm here. That's why I work here. That's why I'm involved in this. Now look, it's just, again, I love being in the room at Star Wars Celebration with Star Wars fans because look, man, we all like something just a little bit more than normal people. And it was so funny. I remember the last big in London, it was kind of a weird time. There was a lot of kind of negative stuff going on in Star Wars. There were all the stuff online was people hate this or hate that, which I really think is a lot of false information getting out there because together we were really nervous. But once you just, once you remind everybody, hey man, like, again, as George said, this is something made for children.
Mm-hmm.
So just relax.
Absolutely.
And enjoy it. You can hate things about it, but there's more to love and enjoy than there is to hate. If you just sit back and take it for what it is, it's a story.
Yeah, and we talk about a lot in our circle here in the GNN world that we were just happy to have content finally when we got Phantom Menace, right? And then I'll be honest, I felt like things were a bit saturated, but so don't watch what you don't want to watch, right? Like so choose. Like you can't make the fans happy because it's either you have nothing or it's saturated. Like just if you don't want to watch, just don't watch. If you watch it, go ahead.
How can we as a community complain that there's too much? Like that legitimately was something we were saying. They're making too much Star Wars. They're making too much Marvel. What do you mean? I'm fine with more. Let's keep going. I'll be shocked. I don't understand why they're waiting till June to release Acolyte. It's done. It's in the can.
Do it.
It's been edited. It's ready to go. Skeleton Key. It's done. It's ready. You know, it's ready to go. This stuff is ready to go. What are we waiting for? You know,
I'm down. Yeah. And when asked by,
You
of
know.
course, everyone knows Dana's and my car is Star Wars for Pete's sake. We get to talk about that here in a second too. But what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Did you see that show? And it's like they're goading me, like waiting for me to say something ill, and I'm like, it's more content. I watched it. It was great, or it was fine, or I didn't watch it, didn't care to, but I'm not going to get upset because it was made, because maybe it made someone else happy. Like, I just enjoy the stuff that we get, for Pete's sake.
Look, there are people out there that only watch the Lego Star Wars stuff, and they think it's great and fantastic.
Listen, you're going to start being on this show all the time.
Look, sometimes people only watch 4, 5, and 6. That's fine. You don't have to watch anything else, but don't punish everybody else for, again, there's nothing I've seen that I've gone, oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
There's something to love in all of it. There's either a character or a spaceship or a planet or an animal. There's something to like in all of it. And, the cool thing is, and this is the weird thing to think about too, people our age are writing this stuff. People that only saw 4, 5, and stories now. And the people that are involved in it and the people at Lucasfilm, they genuinely care. It's cool to watch. So
yeah, one of the things I never really thought of, and this is a perfect example of some of the stuff and even continuity, little details that you had mentioned. No one ever thought about what happened to Barriss Offee. It was like she went to jail. Nobody knows, right? Like, so now you have Tales of the Jedi, and you realize how important, or like seeing it, like I was like, this is amazing. Like, this is and I don't want to ruin it for those of you that haven't seen it because it's only been out for a couple days. Just know, you hear me on this show talking about like reconciliation and redemption. There you go, Cameron. I'm bringing it up again. Redemption arc and this sort of thing. Dude, Barriss, oh my God. Okay. It's only 3 episodes, 45 minutes worth of show. Filoni, thank you, sir. Fantastic.
That's worth it. That's worth it.
Have you watched it yet, Elliot?
I have not. I haven't because I was in South Africa. So.
Oh, that's right. So
there's some stuff that's region blocked. So.
True. I'm going to share my screen again because you brought up Lego, of course, and we had a trailer drop that I don't even know what to do with this.
I am excited.
Have you seen it, Zane? Okay, can I preface it real quick? Okay, I wrote, I had to do a satire piece, and I was doing it on whatever, and Grand Poobah, who we mention a lot, he said, I don't like it. It needs to be more over the top. And he mentioned something about Jar Jar Binks and the dark side. I said, man, that's been done to death. How about Django Jar? And he's a Mando, whatever. That's what I ended up doing. So this really is intriguing me based on that story. And here we go. I know no one cares. Here we go.
Space. Time. It's falling apart. The building blocks of the galaxy are getting mixed up. This doesn't make any sense. Worlds will change. People will change in ways we cannot possibly imagine.
I don't love that.
This is wild. X-Wing TIE fighters? Ewok bounty hunters?
Amen.
Misa going to hurt you, sir.
There's Jar Jar!
The musical chairs. One more. There we go.
Cameron, I swear to God, I will pay whatever amount for the Jar Jar mini.
I agree.
Look, we already
okay. Listen, look, I was so excited
already know
about
that's
my Malik. You know, yeah, I'd do anything for a Jar Jar one. I ain't gonna lie. Do you think that's something? I'll start with you. Do you think that's something fans wanted to see in some form of fashion in some silly way? Elliot?
It's funny because I remember about it briefly at the beginning that when Disney purchased Lucasfilm, it was all right, this is our $1 billion investment. Like, we're not going to make fun of this stuff anymore. You know, we're not going to do the robot chickens. We're not going to do Star Wars detours, which is done sitting on a shelf somewhere. Like, they're just like, we're going to take this serious. So it's now, you know, more than 10 years, and we're now starting to get back to the fun again. And that, you know, you can poke fun at stuff. It's okay. But they found this, that like through the Lego thing, they can, you know, do the funny stuff, the stuff that they can't do. Nice to see that they're letting that happen, because I also know that all of those folks in Story Group have a really funny side too. And that these are probably what you're going to see in the show are probably a lot of inside jokes at Lucasfilm, or, you know, their way to let off steam, to be like, you know, look, we take this stuff so seriously, Jar Jar being a Sith, and then they develop a story, but it's never going to see the light of day. It's just this inside joke at Lucasfilm. So now it's not an inside joke, and let's see what people think about it, and we'll do it under the guise of this Lego thing. So it's, you know, I mean, take a look at, use Holiday Special as an example.
Yeah.
You know, how do you talk about Holiday Special when you don't really talk about it? You know, well, here they are in Lego, you know, so it's cool. It's cool to see them do that. So it's, you know, again, it's for kids, you know,
totally.
Kids, that's how kids think.
Yeah. We've talked about it quite a bit, that when, so when I walked into Disney, I equate it to this. When I walked into Disney that first time, into, I think the first day we were at Magic Kingdom, I walked in and I felt like a child, like a very tiny child, and got tears in my eyes started, you know, and I'm like, oh, this is stupid. I'm a grown ass 40-year-old man. I can't. But it was so magical. And when I got to meet, you know, Kylo Ren, or I got to meet like these people, are you kidding me? Star Tours, like you said, you've got friggin' 3PO's right there. He's right there. He's driving us around, you know. There's so many things magical that can occur now that couldn't occur in the way that they can, right? So because of the investment, they now can do things like what we saw with Noah Broken's son, like we see, like you see with these kids, and oh my gosh, you're part of these events where I'm sure you have a story or two of just something like that touched your heart, you know, where there's these people just falling for these actors, and they're humble, like Mark Hamill, and he's like, nah, dude, yeah, I'm the Jedi guy, but you're this. Do you have any stories like that you'd like to share of something that was really kind of a big deal for you to see? May not a big deal for anyone else, but for you it was.
I have so many Star Wars stories, just moments. I remember one of the ones is we got to deal with Carrie a lot. You know, Carrie would be backstage with her dog and drinking her Diet Coke, and, you know, smoking her cigarette even though she wasn't supposed to smoke inside. You know, really.
Who's gonna tell her no?
Super nervous about going out on stage, and the minute that she crossed onto the stage, it's like all of that worry would just go away, and she'd be brilliant out there. And I remember a celebration. It was in Orlando, and they went to questions from the audience, and she had just whole kind of inappropriate talk about somehow she said something about menstruation or something like that, and the whole audience is laughing, And she's like, well, I hope there's no kids in the audience. And then they go, well, Elliot's out there. He has a question for you. And I'm like, hey, Carrie, I'm here with Steven. He's 7. And she'd be like, oh, Elliot, why are you doing this to me? And she was like, well, you see, menstruation, it's kind of like a train station, kind of like a thing. And she was so quick and so funny. You know, it was just that was cool. Oh, geez, I'm going to have to look up his name. He played the bad guy in Rogue One. He's been in a bunch of stuff.
Mendelsohn.
Yes. So he's at one of the celebrations. He walked out in the outfit. And so he's backstage
in the Krennic outfit?
Normal. Correct. He walked out dressed as Krennic with the cape, and he came backstage and he's changing, and he's not completely dressed, but they start playing the trailer for the first time, and he's like, oh my God, are they playing? And we pulled it up on the screen backstage. And so he's sitting there watching the trailer. And again, I get to watch these guys watch the first time on the trailer. And the first time he sees himself walk on screen, he goes like that. And I was just like, this is so cool. And then the trailer ends and he just looks at me. Oh, you're in Star Wars. And he goes, I'm in effing Star Wars. He just let out this big yell. And it was just cool to see that. It's fun too. Like, watching Daisy go out on the stage for the first time as Rey. And then watching Mark Hamill and Carrie talk to, these new up and coming stars and saying to them, hey, like, I hope you went to the mall. I hope you went out and did stuff in public, because you're not going to be able to do that anymore. So those moments are cool. EJ Lobot was interesting because the outfit was 100% screen accurate, because Disney's really big about that. And so they would tape this headpiece to my head. But the shoes that Lobot wears are these Italian, like almost heels. And so they were super uncomfortable. So I'd walk out and I'd take the shoes off. So you'd watch me. I'd walk up to the DJ console, and then all of a sudden I'd do this. and I DJ up there in my socks, because I was standing behind the table. You couldn't see that I didn't have any shoes on. And then when I would walk away, I'd stand up and put my feet back in. That was fun.
I got to bring
the biggest.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but the biggest Star Wars memory for me was, it was before DJ Lobot. I was out there as DJ Red Leader, which was in the orange jumpsuit, and it was raining. And so at Disney, when it rains, be out. And so we were back in a break room, and it was myself and Lindsay, who's now my wife, and she was like juggling and hula hooping and just doing stuff to keep busy. And she tells me that it was in that moment that we were back there that she realized that she had feelings for me, and that was going to happen. That, shortly after that, we took a trip to Japan to visit, and then came back as a couple. We've been together ever since. But I mean, had it not been for Star Wars, we wouldn't have been together. So, yeah,
Star Wars, man.
Yeah, man. No, and I think it's so funny to me, because we never talked about Star Wars. No. I never knew you were into Star Wars when we went to school together. I had no idea, not at all. It was just so crazy to me. Like, I suddenly got involved in Star Wars, and then you popped back into my life, and you're like, Star Wars? I love Star Wars. And I was like, well, why the heck didn't we talk about
I don't know.
This
I know
15 years ago? Because now it's like, you're somebody that, knew me in a past life. So like, I don't mind taking care of you. Like, there are people that I meet now. They're like, hey, can you hook me up? And I'm like, I don't know who you are, but you're a different story.
And
so
for anyone listening, that's the beauty of Elliot. There was a text where I just asked if I could meet him, to see him and talk with him, because I hadn't seen or talked with him since he left, outside of a Facebook message or whatnot here and there. So, and he just really blessed my family. And that's what Kev was there with us. That is Kevin. And that's where he was saying he remembers you sitting on top of the Hollywood studios rocking it out. So, and yeah, getting to reconnect through Star Wars. You have special needs kids, just so happy and ecstatic to see Mando and Grogu, we're talking about
the child,
Johannesburg, or we're talking about London, Tokyo.
Speaking of the child,
oh, you have a child shrine corner here. That's
that is technically I'm in my wife's office here at the house, office during COVID, and so she has all of her stuff back there. So yeah, I've got some stuff in here.
Just wanted to pop up. Charla was wanting to thank you too.
Oh,
she's watching tonight. But yeah, never think enough. So yeah, we still have a couple of things to chat about. I know it's already after 9. I know where you're at, it's already after 10. If you'd like to continue, please
go ahead.
Stay with us. We wanted to touch on a couple of other things here. We talked about the Phantom Menace. We talked about all kinds of other things concerning that weren't even on our timeline, or our what is this thing called? Not a timeline,
a schedule.
Thank you.
Script.
Yeah, schedule, whatever. Outline, that's what it's called. But this has been really fun, and I'd like to kind of keep us down this dark side path, if you don't mind. So you were talking about Krennic, Mendelsohn, and I'd like to know if you got an opportunity to meet Baylan Skoll. Richard's, what was his name? He was in Ahsoka as Baylan Skoll.
Yes. No, that the first, when they did the Ahsoka panel, he was there again. Super nice guy. It's really cool to see them at Celebration because they don't know. Yeah, they don't really know what they're walking into, and so the first time they walk on stage, I mean, people lose their mind, and it's sad that we don't get to see him again. Because he did such an amazing job, and that's, there's lots of, situation with actors like that where they have an amazing role and you're like, I just want to see them do that again. But, the good news is they got to do it to begin with. So, but no, he was super nice. I mean, they're not going to be mean to us because we're there, to make sure they look good on stage. So usually they're pretty nice to us. And look, you gotta, what I've learned from being on set is it's really just a group of people that like to work together. One of my favorite stories, one of my friends that we met through Star. Not only does he build the costume, but he also typically wears it. And for one of the shows, for Ahsoka, they were doing something and they were walking. And they needed an additional droid, so they got another friend of mine. I remember him telling me that, aren't we? And the person from Lucasfilm that's walking around was like, no, we're not on the Ghost. The Ghost is over there. And he's like, what? Because we didn't know it was going to be in the show. And so he's like, but he waited until after the working together to make something, so there's really not, I haven't really run into anybody that's been unpleasant or not nice. Like, it's really crazy to sit backstage and talk, drawing or sketching something. I have a sketch that Dave Filoni made of me DJing that's framed here in my office.
That's cool.
That he left on my little desk for me. Was like, hey man, I got bored, I drew you. But my favorite, you asked about my favorite moment. I know what my favorite at the Celebration 5, we did a dance party, and it was sponsored by Pringles. I remember because they gave out a little speaker that you could put in a Pringles can, and it would make a really loud speaker. And I thought that was cool. But we just had a party. And at the end of it, this girl, so when the party started, like everybody, it looked like a middle school dance. Like all the guys were standing on one side of the room and all the girls were standing on the other side of the room. And there were a couple guys with like lightsabers, like fighting in the middle of the stage. And I was just like, hey, like, let's have a good time. Like we're all nerds, man. We all got picked on when we were younger. Like this is a chance to like come together and have a good time. And it's as soon as I gave them permission to have a good time, we had a great time. And at the end of the night, this girl came up to me and handed me this napkin. And on the napkin, and I'll never forget it because it's another thing I have framed. It said, you know, I don't know if what you said was true about you growing up, the way you made all of us feel really special tonight. And that kind of set me on the path. That would be my origin story for why I'm involved in conventions. So that's awesome. What kind of set me down this path. So yeah. That's awesome. So.
Heck yeah. But and nerddom's a community, right? It doesn't matter the nerddom. It's Star Wars, Star Trek. It doesn't matter anime, whatever.
No, a fan. Look, a fan is a fan, and it's so funny because like we've just now because we provide one of the companies I own provides entertainment for fandom, and we just recently started getting involved in sports, and it's just so different. In the sports community, we did a wrestling event, we did a baseball event. When people show up at those events, they know everybody in the room likes the same thing that they do because they're wearing the same outfit. Like they're wearing the jerseys and they're just like, yeah, man, high five. Like it's just such this amazing energy. And then when you go to these Comic-Cons, dude, and there's little cliques and all this stuff, and I'm like, hey man, like if I can figure out a way to make these fan events feel like sporting events where everybody's on the same team and everybody's having a great time, then we win. And because ironically, the job when we were in high school are the ones that get it and understand how to be part of a team and have a great experience together. So it's weird to be kind of tell all us geeky people like, hey, we have a team and it's called fandom. So here's how you act in fandom.
Yeah, and as
Star Wars as a fandom, it's like the people that complain about the coach or complain about the players, like, and that's us complaining about Star Wars characters we don't like or directors we don't like or movies we don't like. It's it's sports, it's fandom, it's all crazy.
We have a show on Saturdays. See, this is what I'm doing, Kat. We have a show on Saturdays called the Geek Gauntlet, and it is every DC, Marvel, Star Wars, Star Trek, anime, this and that animes. It's all things geek, and it's like a 2-hour show. We touch on every little tiny thing, and we move on. We have our focus shows, but to your point, yes, even like the grander scale geekdom, right? Like we are a community of like-minded folks, just in the fact that we know we're kind of outcasts. We're a group of outcasts incasted, kind of.
Yeah, the outcasts that are in control of media, right? Really have it horrible.
That's a whole nother show. What geeks are now in control of social media, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. I wanted to talk to you about your vehicles. I was trying to quickly go through and try to find a couple. So the very first one I knew that you did, and I could be mistaken, but was the DeLorean. That was the first one you did? Can you talk about your little car addiction? Because an obsession, because it's not just a hobby. Okay, look, if he has a flaw, he loves these Hollywood cars, man. All right, now go. I set you up.
I built a DeLorean time machine. The reason I'm like, if I had to pick a fandom I love more than Star Wars, it would be Back to the Future. I remember the first movie I remember watching with my parents was Back to the Future. We rented it from a Little Caesars Pizza, and we sat on. I sat on the carpet and watched the time machine roll out of the back of Doc Brown's truck and was like, oh my gosh, I have to have one. I bought a DeLorean and sold it. Never actually built it into a time machine. When I got older and had, a little disposable income, I bought another DeLorean. And I had some friends come over and help me bend some flux bands. And then the flux band sat in my garage for like a year. And then we moved and I needed to find a place to put the flux bands. So I said, you know what? Let's put them on the car. And then 6 months later, I had a DeLorean time machine. Through that, through a bunch of people in the DeLorean community, I'm still pretty connected to the DeLorean time machine community, even though I don't build time machines anymore. I've built personally myself. I've built 8 of them. I've helped other builders. I've probably helped build about during COVID. I helped a time machine builder stayed in business. That's how I was able to provide for my family. One of the highest ones that ever sold at auction. So I've made a lot of money off that. But our Jeep, which one of them's in London, one of them's in Boston. I built 2 Pizza Planet trucks. One's here in Orlando. One is in Phoenix. I started an A-Team van that I never finished. And then I'm currently building an Ecto 1. So that's my weird side hobby. So, yeah.
I saw you post that picture and about lost my shit, dude. I was like, no way. He's doing freaking the hearse, baby.
Look, man, I'm almost 50, coming, no children. What?
Yeah.
What else am I supposed to do?
What are you gonna do? Okay. I work on my car and then I don't eat for a month. So, yeah.
But look, I'm also very fortunate that I live in the shadow of the Florida theme parks. Universal Studios essentially paid for it because they rented it from me, and I do a fair amount of rentals with all these cars. So there's always the can I make the money back off of them? And really, where it all came from is one of the Florida. So when I was 21, 22, I bought a Volkswagen Beetle and fixed it up, and I've just been flipping cars ever since. So I think
Zane, you cannot reach out to Elliot after the show for the Beetle. No, don't talk to him about that.
Oh, look, I'll tell anybody, if you want to learn how to work on cars, buy a 60s Beetle.
Yep.
Because you will learn, my first Beetle.
It's easy. It's just, but it's accessible. That's the word I'm looking for. It's accessible.
No, you're looking at somewhere you can get an old beat up one somewhere between $3,000 to $6,000. And I mean, your parts for that car, you're not going to spend more than $100 on parts for that car. I mean, you can spend a ton of money, but my first Beetle that I had, I remember when we rebuilt the engine, we found out that for 2 months I'd been driving on only 2 cylinders.
Where was YouTube during that time, Elliot?
Oh, that's how I learned how to fix it all. There's 4 bolts that hold the engine into the back of the transmission. Oh, did you lose me?
No, we got you. We got you now. Okay, we can hear.
Oh yeah, there's 4 bolts that hold the engine to the transmission in a Beetle. I've pulled the motor out of a car road before, so it's it's a fun little hobby.
That's insane.
So what's your Star Wars car?
Oh, my Star Wars car. I have a 2019 Civic Type R, and it's dressed up in the dark side. It's a matte silver, silver matte, and then it has the red Imperial logo, dark side on the brow, and some other little decals and whatnot. It's
nice.
It's dirty, and it just got some new pipes, so it's really screaming down the road right now. I'm excited, yeah. I'll shoot you a picture. But yeah, dude, this has been fun. We got one more little tiny thing to touch on. If you still got time,
Yeah.
See how I rush that so that we just go right into it. We didn't talk a lot about what this show was really about, and so we'll close out the evening talking about it, and that was about Elliot. No, the topic for the show this evening was about moving past Rule of Two and into what is the future of Sith, right? So I'd love, with all of your insight, to get your take on where we're at. And I brought up Balin Skull because I feel like there's been an introduction of an expansion of what the Sith are. And this show is very much focused on understanding the Sith are not just these evil people that just try to kill everything. That's not what the Sith are. They have a code. What is the code? And we went through that in 6 episodes. What is it that we're talking about now? The timeline. And we're at the end of their timeline as far as what we know. So we know that Kylo Ren, it never was actually said, and maybe you know more than I don't recall ever that he was a Dark Lord of the Sith. That was never mentioned as a title for him that I ever heard. Am I wrong? However,
No, I don't. I don't
go
think
ahead.
so.
No, I think that's important. And I think that's being done on
No,
purpose.
it's so funny because like I know all the time and effort that they put into the Knights of Ren, and we don't really see anything about them. They don't really talk about it. It's to me it's weird. I'm curious as to what's going on.
Yeah.
There. Well, you know what? You know, it's that you know there's got to be something there, because if we're going to make more movies about Rey after Episode 9, there's, you know, the battle between good and evil that still has to happen. And just because the Emperor's gone again, there has to be bad. Like it can't. Yeah, you can't have light without dark. You know, and that's the thing that they've, you know, all these movies really focus on force on the light side. I think it would be silly for them not to start focusing a little on the dark side. Like there's just so much opportunity, and you know, usually the bad guys tend to be the better characters anyway. So it just leaves a lot open for, you know, some of the best character development is in these bad, you know, look at the Anakin arc.
Yeah.
You know, it feels kind of rushed in 1, 2, and 3, you know, but you know, I don't know. It's interesting because again, you know, you get like the big one. You can't have a light side without a dark side. Like you can't eliminate it all the way. It can't be completely gone because people are always going to be tempted. I mean, that's basic storytelling 101. You go back to the Bible, good and evil. Like that's how we're built as a society, good and evil. So you got it.
I love that they're starting to walk that line a little bit, though. You know, Balin and Shin are not. I am no Jedi. Ahsoka, I am no Jedi. And I'm not saying there's gray. I'm not going down that path.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that perhaps we were talking about the dogmatic views of the earlier in the show, right? Maybe both sides get it wrong in their understanding of the Force, in that the father and the son and the daughter, we've talked about that quite a bit on the show, that the balance in the Force that Anakin can, now that he's in the world between worlds, maybe there's something to that, right? Maybe that the real true balance occurs. Even in you, Elliot, right? Even in me, even in you, Zane, there is that duality of, I feel like I want to do X. Well, is it good or bad? Well, it really isn't good or bad. What's my intention? What do I want to do, right? That's your motivation. That's what determines whether it's for the better good or the worse of people, whatever you want to say, however you want to call that. So from what you're saying, and Zane, I'd like for you to know your thoughts here. If in fact we are beginning to see more development of dark side, to give it more of an understanding that it's not just a cut and dry black and white, this is just a person that is evil. What are your thoughts on where you think they're going to take the Sith? The Sith, this is important because, as we just said, Kylo Ren, they never talk about the Knights of Ren. Yes, we want to see a separate show on that. That would be fantastic. But what about the Sith? because it was the Jedi, as we talked about in 2 shows ago, and then you had the Jedi Civil War, and then you had the Sith, and then the Sithari, and all this stuff. So what are your thoughts, my friend?
It's
Wait, they've already written the movie, right? The Rey movie, or are they still writing it right now? Do you know, Elliot?
I don't know. I don't. I mean, I know that
situation.
big movie. No. I think the next big movie focus is this Mandalorian one. I think that's the next, and I know that they're starting to get stuff together to potentially, they're in like pre-production on that one right now. So
okay,
because it was originally going to be TV, so it just now it's we're going to do it a movie. All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't want to miss something before I asked Zay that question. He's like, "Yeah, Dad, dummy, it's in this article. It's already done."
No, I think strictly Sith speaking, the next Sith is going to be a bad guy in evil. I think that we are starting to see them draw that line where we know people muddle in the middle, and it's not a distinct. Here's a 1x1 square, and right down the middle is the line. No, it's more like here's this 1x1 square, and a third is where the light side is. Maybe a third on this side is where the line is, but there's this big chunk of middle, and this is where the Knights of Ren are going to be. This is where the Acolyte, who is potentially like a dark Jedi, was going to be. I think the Inquisitors. I think this is where they might take the Sith in the future. They're going to make them more prominently evil and have their non-Sith be the connecting link between them and either the Jedi or whatever humanity is there.
That's an interesting take. Do you pull that from your experience within SWTOR? Or yeah, that's what I thought.
Little.
Yeah. So I don't know, Elliot, did you play any of the Star Wars games?
Not video games. Yeah, I got into those, but none of the other stuff.
That's what I'm talking. Like video games. Like, what was your favorite Star Wars video game growing up?
Oh, geez. Rogue Squadron. That was mine.
That was fun.
Good one.
That was fun.
I mean, the arcade cabinet with the green lions, like that was the one. Just keep doing the trench over and over.
You
and
can
over
get
again.
those now. I think One Up sells them now. You can get those old school. Oh my god, with the yoke and not yes.
Yeah.
Man.
The really bad 8-bit John Williams score. Yeah,
doesn't matter. I don't care. Yeah, I'm 100% down.
Yeah.
I'm down. I kept expecting Christmas morning that thing to show up. It didn't.
No. I think you're right about the next person being really, really bad, because if every other one has redemption, then they're the Emperor, who's really bad, and then Darth Vader, who ends up being good, and then the Emperor comes back and he's really bad, and Kylo Ren turns at the end, then whoever's next has to be really, really bad again before you get another person that turns, if you're following the pattern.
Yeah, and I don't like that in one sense, because my whole show, the premise is that, understand, separate evil from Sith. They're two separate different words. It's an ideology. Sith is an ideology, and that's what I preach. I'm not saying, you know where I stand on being a believer, so just understand I'm not an evil person. But I do know that we can use these things in our own lives, taking control of the Force, moving forward in the Force, commanding the Force and commanding the things in front of us to move or get the hell out of the way or come with me. And that's the way the Sith were. If I could get a Sith of, let's say, nihilist evil caliber with the intelligence of a Revan for this new evil, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to call them, if I can get a blend of nihilist and Revan, you've got me sold. And because there really is no reconciliation or redemption arc for one like Nihilus. They're just, to me, there just can't be. He consumed the planets, okay? And for Revan, we know his story arc. There's, redemption, etc.
Crazy.
But I want the intelligence of Revan, the strategist of Revan, and the absolute just unhinged craziness of chaos of Nihilus. I know Nihilus is one of your more favorites as well, Zane, and Revan for that matter. What are your thoughts on a combo, something like that, where there isn't going to be redemption? I mean, you brought up a great point, Elliot.
I don't know if I'd agree with Nihilus. I'd say more of a Scion. I like the idea that this person is such powerful and so consumed by the dark side that he is literally both killing himself and keeping himself alive through the dark side. But imagining something like that kind of evil and dark side presence being matched with Revan's intelligence and his strategic ability, like that would be what I'd more like to see.
Yeah. Some of the writing in the legend stuff, when we talk about the Force ghosts, we brought up Exar Kun, et cetera, of the Sith, and there are some dudes that just straight up scare me in reading, right? So I'm in my 20s, 30s, whatever, and I'm reading these books in bed, whatever. Yes, Chewie dies because a moon crashes on him. Yeah, it's silly, whatever. Anyways, I'm reading these things, and I can't help but think if I were to make this set of movies moving forward, I don't know that I've got, based on the legends, I don't want to see the Bong. I don't want to see. I could maybe see Darth Krayt, but with what we were provided, I don't know if I want to see that. And I'm actually kind of curious as to what they might do with Rey and this other person. And I'm welcoming it. Is that wrong? I don't think so. You've got, I guess the last point here, you have a franchise that we've talked about being, we went through the doldrums of not having anything, to where some fans say it was oversaturation. We say whatever content we're getting, we're just happy with, or this content isn't what we thought. This isn't my Luke Skywalker, may have been said on this show a time or two. So there's all sorts of things within the fandom, but it's undeniable that the power that Disney and Lucasfilm have to move an entire community it's undeniable that is there. And we saw it in the tiny short video I showed earlier this evening. We see it in the stories that you've told about how many people are influenced by Star Wars. I mean, really, in these places with thousands and thousands of people. What do you see on the horizon for Star Wars in, say, 10 years? I know everyone's looking in short because we have to hit those stakeholders, shareholders, and I get all that. Where do you see the franchise in 10 years?
I mean, we're going to see people that grew up, because right now the people making Star Wars grew up with 4, 5, and 6.
Oh.
And some of them 1, 2, and 3, but then they're making the 7, 8, and 9. So the people that are making Star Wars 10 years from now are going to be the people that watched Mandalorian, are going to be the people that watched Force Awakens. Like I said, Disney built Batuu for people that watched Force Awakens. That's who it was built for, is for those kids. It means something to those kids. It looks like Force Awakens. I mean, I selfishly wanted to go to Hoth, walk into the cantina, on Tatooine, and, be in the jungles of, Endor. But that's really short-sighted when you look at it, because you have to continue to grow. But like Dave and Pablo said, is, look, George provided so much stuff, all of the stuff, all the, and, think about it. Like when Disney first acquires Lucasfilm, they say, we're not going to pay attention to any of the extended universe stuff. None of that stuff exists. We're not doing any of it.
Bravo.
And here we, yeah. And now here we are with Thrawn as a character in a show from the expanded universe. So clearly there's so much to pull from, I mean, look, and the same thing. Like when you look at the Lego thing, like you know, who would have thought Disney and Lucasfilm would have found a way to do Into the Spider-Verse in Star Wars, but they found a way. This is the way to do, these alternate universes. And there's so much. I think Andor set a good precedent again of like, let's tell a story in the Star Wars universe. I think we'll see more of that. It's kind of a cop out that Rey is a Skywalker, because now you're saying that, the Force is only in a bloodline, and there's just stuff that contradicts that statement in all of the Star Wars stuff that we've seen, so who knows what's going to happen. I just know that it's there. Look, Disney bought this as an investment. They're going to continue to make content while they continue to make money from it. We'll see new leadership at Lucasfilm. I mean, Kathleen is, I don't expect her to be around much longer, just because
that's the cycle.
Bob Iger's about to retire. She's the age to retire. Like, why would you not want to go enjoy? Why would you want to do this till you die? Even George retired. Like, there comes a point where it's like, hey, take your money and go enjoy your life. Why do you want to keep making these decisions? But all in all, I think Disney buying Lucasfilm was great. I mean, again, that is all about telling stories, that owns an amazing set of IP to tell stories in. It's why the Marvel stuff is good. At the end of the day, as long as they remember, our parent company's motto is tell a good story. As long as you tell a good story, and the people that love Star Wars are making Star Wars, so I think we're gonna be fine.
Yeah, I would agree. I thought this was a very cool episode, Elliot. Thank you for adding some insight that we normally don't have. I mean, sometimes Dana goes on these rants, but only when Cam forces him to go on rants. But
look, if you need someone to come in and remind you that this is fun and something made for children, and that we all need to not take it so seriously, I'll come in anytime.
I am very much the guy that just wants more, right? Always, and I'll give every single solitary thing a shot. But then I'll have an opinion about it. But I've given it a shot, a fair shot. I walked into the Phantom Menace not even remembering. I mean, 1999 was forever ago. My daughter was born in 1999. I have a grandson from her. I mean, come on. This was forever ago. But I was watching it as if it was the first time. It was amazing. That level of cinematography, storytelling, John Williams involved, all the things that make Star Wars what Star Wars is, for all the naysayers in 1999. F you, like, it was good. Dude, what am I wearing? I'm wearing my Darth Maul 99 shirt,
But the other thing that you forget about this whole process, and people forget to say, and what's really great of the fact that you got to watch this in a theater now, you're in a theater full of people that want to see this movie. And you get to be with those people.
I ain't gonna like, okay, I'm exaggerating. There were only two couples, me and another couple.
There were like 15 people in our theater.
There were how many?
Like 15 to 20 people.
No joke. It still made 8 million. It was like number 2 in the weekend. Are you kidding me? So I know we're not back up to COVID. Ambrose, for those of you that follow along with the GNN, Ambrose wrote an article about that today, and that or yesterday, whatever. Point is, 8 million still in a weekend of a movie from 1999. One day
from a movie that's on Disney Plus, you can watch for free right
now with a subscription. Yes, 100%. Or just hang out on TNT long enough.
Yeah, between Back to the Future and Star Wars, you'll catch something.
Oh my gosh, man, folks, this was fun. We're gonna start heading towards the end here. Anything coming up for you, Elliot, in the next week or two? I'm sure there is. What do you got going on that you wanna promote?
I mean, the next I head to London the end of this month for MCM Comic Con, and then stuff at Disney starts picking up on the castle stage again for 4th of July this year, so that'll be fun. I mean, Florida July, just convention appearances. Just now, we're launching our San Diego Comic Con after parties. So just about an hour ago, we announced our fantasy themed one on Thursday night. I'm working with some friends from XLE Productions. We do the big after party.
Awesome.
At San Diego Comic Con, and so I'll be appearing there. So we've got 3 parties this year that we're excited about. Some amazing themes, a really nice. The entire downstairs of the nightclub is another club in itself, and that's going to have a theme the whole weekend. Last year it was themed around Barbie.
Oh my goodness.
This year's theme is. I'm just really excited I get to work with those guys, so it'll be fun. So playing music for playing other people's music and getting paid for it.
Yeah, dude, no, heck yeah. So if my boss is listening, our headquarters is in Carlsbad.
Hey.
I fly into San Diego, so can we please look at that schedule and have me there the week before Comic-Con so that I can just stay over for Comic-Con?
Hey man, I can definitely get you tickets to the event, not Comic-Con. And here's what I'm going to tell you: all of you people trying to go to San Diego Comic-Con, you don't need tickets to go to the actual convention. Just walk around San Diego. It takes over all of San Diego. You really want to see a busy, packed Comic-Con floor where you don't have to do crazy things to get tickets? Go to New York Comic-Con. It feels exactly the same.
Very cool.
So, but there are way cheaper hotels in New York. The coolest thing about New York Comic-Con is if you walked 2 blocks away from, it's just New York.
Jeez. This is awesome, man. We would love. I say we. It's my show. They're just along for the ride. So I know I have some regulars mostly, but it's my show. Let's be honest, guys. So yes, Elliot, if you'd love to come on another time, we had such a blast tonight with you. And I'm gonna have to play the stupid clip now again of you tackling me because we missed it earlier.
You are so lucky out my parents' garage. I found that video cassette that I made and I digitally downloaded it to share with everybody.
That was insane.
I filmed that whole time. And the funny thing to think about when you watch that video is it's edited like while I'm filming because I didn't have editing equipment. It was just hit record.
It was crazy. And this was a trip. I ain't gonna lie.
And then here is our fearless leader, R.A. Dana Martin. What's it all about, Dana? What's it all about, Dana? What's it all about?
I had to give you the extra little plunk there. Little stuff. There's Peanut. Yeah. Carl Linder, our buddy Peanut. He's a good dude, man. Shout out to you. Yeah, man. Elliot, this has been super fun, man. And Cameron, thank you for joining where you could. Every other guest, Charlotte, thanks for joining. Kev, this was fun, man. We got to bring you on for another show if you're willing, man. I'll reach out.
Absolutely,
it's nice. We're being positive about Star Wars.
Hey, man.
Positive. It's good.
We are positive about Star Wars.
If there's one thing before Star Wars Celebration. And one of my favorite posts was go see DJ Elliot wherever he is. Just go talk to him because he just loves Star Wars and loves fans, and you need to be his friend. And
absolutely,
I love that.
And that's how I know the people. So
I have not changed our scroller at the bottom. I have had at the DJ Elliot the entire time. I want all 3 of the people watching right now to go. No, we have tons of people that actually listen on the Spotify's and whatnots, and for when it goes to audio, which usually is on Wednesday. Thank goodness. Thank you, William and AV. He pushes everything out on Wednesdays. So wherever you watch or wherever you listen to your podcast, go check them out there. If it's YouTube, it will be right ready as soon as you jump on, because that's where we broadcast to. Same with Facebook. We broadcast directly to Facebook. I have a TikTok stream that I do live as well. While we're in the show, it ended about probably 45 minutes ago, just because I wasn't paying attention to it and didn't do the little check that I was still there. But we've had folks in there like No One Broken, who we shared her video today with her special needs son, who just, Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy. I'm saying this to you, and just know how important this is to so many of us, without me getting emotional after a bottle of wine. Tonight's was 19 Crimes Dark Red. It was very good. Zane, what gigs do you got coming up? You got a break this week, though, right?
Yeah. Next week, though, I'm starting off the 16th, that Thursday. I'm playing up in Austin at the Little Longhorn.
Little Longhorn, are you streaming? Is that streaming again? Little Longhorn streaming is always fun.
Sometimes they do, but that one should be 7 to.
Is that with Bo Moore?
It's with Bo Moore, but I think that one's 6 to 8 p.m. And then the day after is the 17th. We are playing with Thomas over at the Oak Hill Social. Up in Oak Hill, kind of west of Austin.
Got a little regular thing going at the Oak Hill Social. Thomas,
it's a residency.
That's right. So, DJ Elliot, this is his gig is a musician. Imagine that, my son, a musician, right? He's a percussionist, drummer. He plays for a couple of bands around Austin. He goes or was going to Samo at Texas State. Took a semester off. We need to talk about that, by the way, the next month. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, he's doing fantastic. Go check out 30 Rack on Instagram at 30 Rack, and enjoy. There's some badass harmonies, and I wish I would have pulled it up. You guys sound fantastic, and I'm a musician. I tell you sucked if you did. So, all right. Elliot, thank you again, my friend. This was freaking fantastic, man. All right. We'll see if we can't circle back and get you back on, my friend.
All right, works for me.
What else you guys got? Anything else before we head out? We're not going to, again, camera's not on, so we're not going to be here for 3 hours. Oh, he's got the red.
Red.
Alexa, make my office red. Well, that wasn't as good as I thought. It was not as good as yours. Okay. The force is not strong with me. Oh, it's green. Oh, he's got all the stuff. DJ Lobot in the house.
I'm dumb.
All right, we are getting way too goofy, folks. Thank you for joining. Remember, we have Cantina Happy Hour every Monday. No, MCU Mondays. Cantina Happy Hour on Thursday. No, what's Tuesday?
Thursdays.
No, our show's on Tuesday. Cantina MCU Mondays. Sith Dominion Tuesdays. Nothing on Wednesday. Go catch up on all your other shows. Podcasts on Thursday is Cantina Happy Hour. Friday, I have no idea. War of the Stars, I think, is going to come out. Cam in focus, not our Cameron, but the other Cam. He's back in action. And then also War of the Stars. Thank you, Garrett, for joining. That's fantastic. You jumped right on and jumped right off. But, man, thanks for being a part of us. Oh, wow, that was a lot. Anything else? Any parting shots for you? What do you got going on, Elliot, next couple weeks besides that? Work on your Ecto 1?
Yeah, I mean, travel some, but thank you so much. Nice to see both of y'all. Have a good evening.
Absolutely. You guys take it easy. Hey, remember, kids, peace is a lie. There's only passion. Good night, folks.